All praises to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakahakwadash. Next one to give double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the Lord's elect. To my left here on End Time Headlines, the harsh reality we must prepare for, the fate of America. This is this guy's opinion. In this episode, we examine one of the most intriguing questions in Bible prophecy. What is the future of America in the last days? You see, now he's going off a little bit. So are we telling you Israelites, go to our apostles, our bishops, and our elders at the Church of Great Millstone. But the fate of America is to be completely burned with nuclear fire. America is Babylon the Great, and that is the lake of fire. Let's get Gemini involved. And we are using Gemini just through the power and spirit of Bahasham Yahawashi. Gemini is being fed the truth, so it has no choice but to stick to the facts of the scriptures and the truth of the scriptures. And that starts with acknowledging the true, powerful, and holy name of the Heavenly Father Yahawah and His only begotten Son Yahawashi, and acknowledging the true children of Israel, which is you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And this is not a so-called black thing. The Lord has scattered His people among all nations. We're going to come looking like all nations. So Isaiah 13 verse 17, it says, Babylon will fall to the Medes. Babylon is America. The modern day Medes is Russia. They're in that land. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. So there's not going to be no negotiations when the bear gets involved. Their bows also, their nuclear missiles, shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. And Babylon, America, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their foes there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures. And owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. So I put that in Gemini. I said, according to the facts of the scriptures, what Babylon is this talking about? And how do we know? Isaiah 13 verse 19. And Babylon, which is America, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And the Lord overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah with fire and brimstone. You see, He's going to overthrow Babylon the Great with fire and brimstone via ICBM nuclear missiles. And He's going to use all the other nations to do it, because those missiles, they belong to the Lord. Jeremiah 50 and verse 9, for lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country. That's Russia and all his allies. And they shall set themselves in array against her from thence. She shall be taken. Their arrows, their ICBM nuclear missiles, shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. Right. Again, Jeremiah 51 and verse 11, it says, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes for his device. Those ICBM nuclear missiles is against Babylon. It's against America, to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, the vengeance of His temple. You see, so the Lord's going to make and use these nations to shoot off His missiles. At the climax of World War III, that's what salvation is. Salvation is being delivered from this nuclear destruction, the second death. And only the elect of the nation of Israel is going to get this salvation. Isaiah 13 verse 5. It says they come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, and the weapons of His indignation to destroy the whole land. In LT, they come from distant countries, from beyond the farthest horizons. They are Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi's weapons to carry out His anger. With them, He will destroy the whole land. Judgment on the day of the Lord. How ye? For the day of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. You see, NLT, screaming terror. For the day of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi has arrived. The time for the Almighty to destroy. You see, the whole land is going to be destroyed, man. Babylon the Great and the Holy Land. But unlike Babylon the Great, the Holy Land will be rebuilt, and the true children of Israel will go home. So according to the facts of the scriptures, the Babylon spoken of in Isaiah 13 verse 19 refers to Babylon the Great, America, in its final future eschatological context. While ancient Babylon, the kingdom ruled by Nebuchadnezzar, existed in history, the specific conditions of its destruction detailed in Isaiah 13 and throughout prophecy prove that this verse is pointing directly to future spiritual Babylon, right, which is America. We know this based on several undeniable scriptural facts. Ancient Babylon was never destroyed like Sodom and Gomorrah. The scriptural fact, Isaiah 13 verse 19, declares that Babylon shall be as when Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Genesis 19 describes the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah as a sudden, catastrophic strike of fire and brimstone raining down from heaven, leaving the territory completely burned and instantly annihilated. You see, because what did the Lord say in Isaiah 34 and 5 in the NLT? Isaiah 34 and verse 5, it says, we'll get in the KJV and in the NLT, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea. That's the Greek way of saying Edom. You see, Edom is symbolic for America. And upon the people of my curse, the judgment, you see. And when my sword has finished its work in the heavens, it will fall upon Edom, the nation I have marked for destruction. The historical fact, ancient Babylon was never burned to ashes in a single day. When the Medes and Persians conquered ancient Babylon in 539 BC, they diverted the Euphrates River and marched into the city without firing a single arrow or burning the city down. And those arrows that's spoken of are talking about nuclear missiles, man. King Cyrus, when it pertains to the destruction of Babylon, King Cyrus took over the city intact, and people continued to live there for centuries, while it slowly decayed into ruin over time. Because ancient Babylon was not overthrown with immediate fire like Sodom and Gomorrah, Isaiah 13 and verse 19 is a future prophecy targeting Babylon the Great, America, which will be burned completely by fire and nuclear destruction, right? What does that say? That's Revelation 18 and verse 8, I believe. It says, therefore shall her, Babylon the Great, the daughter of Babylon, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi who judgeth her. You see? Let's get this. Babylon is fallen. It says, and after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon, America, the great, is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. You see, the wild beasts of the deserts. The universal scope of the chapter. To understand verse 19, the context of the entire chapter must be examined. The destruction described in Isaiah 13 is global, cosmic, and catastrophic, matching the timeline of Jacob's trouble and the return of Hamashiach Yahawashi. Right, because this is salvation is being delivered from this destruction, as it tells you in Isaiah 26 and verse 20. It says, come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed. For behold, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain. Right, it's going to take the Lord 1 hour. You see, and the Lord's going to open his armory. Let's get that. Jeremiah 50 and verse 25. It reads, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi hath opened his armory, and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation. You see, for this is the work of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, power of hosts, in the land of the Chaldeans, America. You see, come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, shut thy doors about thee, hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed. You see, that's the elect of the nation of Israel getting beamed up into the chariots of Israel, while those nuclear missiles are being flown off to destroy this place. Isaiah 13 and verse 19, Isaiah 13 verse 9 through 10. Behold, the day of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, for the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. This matches the cosmic signs of the last days cited in Matthew 24 and verse 29 and Revelation 6 and verse 12 through 13. So when you get Matthew 24 and verse 29, the glorious return immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. And the stars, the nuclear missiles, shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven, so-called UFOs, the chariots of Israel, with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with the great sound of a trumpet. And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Isaiah 13 verse 11, and I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease. The judgment of this Babylon is not a localized ancient battle. It is the judgment of the entire world system centered in Babylon the Great. It will never be inhabited again. Isaiah describes the aftermath of this destruction in the very next verse. Isaiah 13 verse 20, it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. The scriptural precept, this exact language is repeated Verbatim in Jeremiah 50 and verse 40, as Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. And Revelation 18 and verse 21 through 23, which confirms that modern Babylon the Great will be thrown down with violence and never found again. After Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi executes his wrath upon America, Babylon the Great, the land will become an uninhabitable wasteland, preserved only as a memorial of his judgment. You see, wild beasts of the deserts are going to lie here. The verdict, according to the facts of the scriptures, the Babylon of Isaiah 13 verse 19 is Babylon the Great, America. We know this because ancient Babylon was captured peacefully by the Medes without being burned like Sodom and Gomorrah, whereas the scriptures predicts a sudden total fiery destruction from which the land never recovers, right? America is Babylon the Great, and it's coming at the climax of World War III. That's why you devils, the Lord is sending all you heathen to war for the controversy of Zion. You see, Jeremiah 51 and verse 1, it says, "For thus saith Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, behold, I will raise up against Babylon, America, and against them that dwell in the midst of them, that rise up against me, a destroying wind," that's nuclear destruction. "And I will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her, and shall empty her land, for in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth himself up in his brigadine, and spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her host. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. For Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his God, of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Flee out of the midst of Babylon, you flee spiritually, you Israelites, and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense," right? Because that's what the gospel is. Isaiah 60:1, it says, "The spirit of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi power is upon me, because Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi hath anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, and to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all that mourn, to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion," you see, to all who mourn in Israel. The Lord is only concerned with the elect of the nation of Israel. You see, Jeremiah 51, that's a day of vengeance. Verse 7, it says, "Babylon, America, hath been a golden cup in Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad." As we see, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up, even to the skies. You see? The Lord's not going to call back this judgment. Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi hath brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, our God. You see? And this is the work of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. The Lord is getting ready to destroy this place, man. Matter of fact, we get Jeremiah 49 and verse 17. It says, "Also Edom shall be a desolation, and everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss at all the plagues thereof, as in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, and the neighbor cities thereof, saith Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. No man shall abide there, neither shall a son of man dwell in it." You see, because America is spiritually known as Edom. Well, Edom is symbolic for America, Salakia. Well, you can say that too. See, Edom is symbolic for America. It's the same language. Because when you get Joel 3, and it's Egypt, spiritually known as Egypt as well. Joel 3 and verse 19, it says, "Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom," you see, "shall be a desolate wilderness for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. But Judah shall dwell forever in Jerusalem from generation to generation. For I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed. For Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi dwelleth in Zion." You see, you're going to get that nuclear fire for what you've done to the Lord's people. This is for the controversy of Zion, man. Baruch 4 and verse 30. It says, "Take a good heart, O Jerusalem, for he that gave thee that name will comfort thee. Miserable are they that afflicted thee and rejoice at thy fall. Miserable are the cities which thy children served. Miserable is she that received thy sons. For as she rejoiced at thy ruin and was glad of thy fall, so shall she be grieved for her own desolation. For I will take away the rejoicing of her great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning. For fire," nuclear fire, "shall come upon her," who? The daughter of Babylon, "from the everlasting, long to endure, and she shall be inhabited of devils for a great time." You see, the same language. Wild beasts of the deserts, man. You see, that nuclear fire is coming to Babylon the Great, man. What is that? Revelation 17 and 6, I believe. It says, "And I saw the woman drunken," that woman is America, "with the blood of the saints," was the children of Israel, "and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahawashi, the prophets. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration." You see? And only the children of Israel are prophets and saints. You see? The Lord getting ready to waste this place, man. Verse 24. And in her was found the blood of the prophets and of saints and of all that were slain upon the earth. And who's slain everybody? The so-called white man, Esau, Edom, that bloody man. You see, the Lord said in Ezekiel 35 in verse 5, it says, a message for Edom, the so-called white man, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, and the time of their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Sith thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. You see? The Lord said, woe to the bloody city. Woe to the bloody city, Babylon the Great, America, spiritually known as Nineveh. Woe to the bloody city. It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. And then when you go to Isaiah 47, this is prophecy about the daughter of Babylon as well. You see, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon, sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. You see? Take heavy millstones and grind flour, remove your veil and strip off your robe, expose yourself to public view. And that's what the Lord's doing. He's making Esau bare, man. The so-called white men, them top banking families. He's showing the kingdoms and the nations your shame. Verse 3, thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. You see, as for our Redeemer, he's the Redeemer of the nation of Israel, starting with the elect. Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. Sit thou silent and get thee in the darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke. And thou saidst, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. You see? Therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. You see, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, and one day, the loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. And what is that? It tells you that in Revelation 18 and verse 8. Again, therefore shall her, Babylon the Great, the daughter of Babylon, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi who judges her. It's talking about America, man. The Lord getting ready to waste every drop of it. He's not playing, as it tells you in Psalms. And Esau, Edom, the so-called white men, they ruled over America. Psalms 137 and verse 7, it says, remember, O Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, the children of Edom. You see, the so-called white man in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed. Happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. You see? You see, because you're going to receive a double cup for what you've done to the children of Israel. Micah 4 and verse 10, it says, be in pain and labor to bring forth, O daughter of Zion, you Israelites, the elect, like a woman in travail. For now shalt thou go forth out of the city, and thou shalt dwell in the field. And thou shalt go even to Babylon, America. There shalt thou be delivered. There Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi shall redeem thee from the hand of thine enemies. You see, NLT, you will soon be sent in exile to distant Babylon. But the Lord Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi will rescue you there. He will redeem you from the grip of your enemies. As it tells you in Luke 1 and verse 68. This is what the gospel is. This is good news. Blessed be Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, God of Israel, for he hath visited and redeemed his people. Verse 70, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, that we, the children of Israel, should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. You see? That's what's coming. The Lord's getting ready to deliver the elect of the nation of Israel. Jeremiah 16, verse 14. And America will be completely destroyed. It says, therefore, behold, the day is come, saith Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, that it shall no more be said, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. Now, let's get that NLT. But the time is coming, says the Lord, when people who are taking an oath will no longer say, as surely as the Lord lives, who rescued the people of Israel from the land of Egypt. Instead, they will say, as surely as the Lord Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi lives, who brought the people of Israel back to their own land, from the land of the north, and from all the countries to which he had exiled them. For I will bring them back to this land that I gave to their ancestors. You see, that great deliverance is going to come right out of Babylon the Great. It says, there you shall be delivered from your enemies. Because why? It's getting ready to get hit with nuclear destruction, every drop of it. You see? That come my people, enter thou into thy chambers. Shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, into the indignation. Be overpassed, you see. The Lord's getting ready to make a short work upon this earth. Repent, you Israelites. Turn back to Yahawah, Yahawashi. Shalom.